Team New Jersey. We have Team North Jersey, Team Central Jersey involved. And what we're have today is a very special lunch and learn on a topic that a lot of people affects everyone is housing, whether you're renting, whether owning, and shelter. It's one of Maslow's basic hierarchy of needs. So without any further ado, I'm going to let our panelists introduce themselves, and we'll start out with Heather. Heather, you want to tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, good morning. Heather Crockett with True Concept Title Insurance.
Excellent. And then you want to have a little bit more about your firm, just a minute or two about your.
Sure. So True Concept Title, we are a family-owned and operated title insurance company. I'm here up in New York, in the Northeast here. And our main operations center is in Florida on the West Coast. We have another operations center in Texas and California. So we do have a national footprint. And we basically partner with lenders for the most part to be that single point of contact for all of their out-of-state settlement needs.
Excellent. And then next up, we have Lance. Lance, you want to tell everyone who you are, what you do?
Yeah, my name is Lance Dunn. I am a real estate agent with Keller Williams. My office is in Clinton, New Jersey. I specialize in residential sales in the central New Jersey area. Specifically, my core market area is Somerset, Hunterdon County, and some of the surrounding counties, even down into Mercer and whatnot. Specialize in helping people make a move, whether they're selling or buying or relocating or anything that goes along with residential home sales. I also do some light commercial, so kind of storefronts on downtown Main Street of any town USA, that kind of stuff. I can help with that kind of thing too. So Lance Dunn with Keller Williams Real Estate.
Excellent. Next up, we have Andrea.
Good morning. Thank you, Dennis, so much. I work for Guaranteed Rate. My name's Andrea Burrows, and I work with a fantastic team, a powerhouse team under Matt Keene. We're based out of Madison, but most of us work wherever we can find space. So some of us are relegated to home offices and others are relegated to spots that they might go to in real estate offices. So we do work with mostly realtors. We do all residential lending. We do first and second mortgages, but we don't do standalone home equities. That's what your bankers are for. But the big thing is mortgages right now and what's going on in the market. So we'll talk about that.
Excellent. Very good. And finally, but not last but not least, we have Erin.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Erin Myers. I'm a residential real estate agent. I work out of Morristown, and I do service Morris County, Somerset County, Essex, part of Union as well. And I pride myself on customer service. This has been a busy market that we're seeing, and we'll jump into that a little bit today. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Very good. Let's change the view real quick to focus on. So now, Erin, would you? We'll start with you. Do you want to fill us in a little bit more on the subject matter and the topic at hand, and your feelings and thoughts, or what you have about it?
Well, yeah, sure. The housing market right now, and I think that this can go no matter where you are geographically these days. It has been incredibly busy. We've been in a very active seller's market for a long time now, coming through COVID, and it still seems to be continuing. And in this market, it's been tough for buyers because there are so many jumping into the market. A lot of new buyers trying to leverage the low interest rates that we've been seeing for so long. And so it's been incredibly competitive to secure the housing needs for those buyers. But, things are starting maybe to shift a little bit. We're seeing rates change, and we're hoping that things will even out and slow down a little bit as we come into this year.
Excellent. And then as far as Andrea, do you want to talk a little bit more about the subject matter and your thoughts on it?
I wanted to try and see if there were some solutions that we could talk about for discouraged buyers. I know there's a lot of people who are upset that the rates are moving where they are, but there's a lot of things that predict the market, a lot. And it's almost impossible, I think, to gamble. I think the idea of real estate, unless you are very lucky to get a house that you can flip, which is not easy to do in this market, or if at all, is to know that it's a 12-year commitment. If you think about it, we work on this is your investment side. You know, Aaron and the realtors, they're looking for people to find homes. We're going to be the sounding board for this is your home, and you can wait it out if your price drops just a little bit. But it might not be a good time to wait to buy right now. So that's kind of really what I want to get into.
Okay. Want to expand a little bit more? We have some more time.
Oh, sure. So if you look at the way that the trend is the last 12 months, a lot of people have lost their buying power. But if you look at it over the last 12 years, rates are still exceptionally low. Even if you're looking at 4 3/4 or 5%, and it's going to be higher on investment properties, as always. That's the way that goes. There's a bigger risk for the bank for it. But your focus needs to not necessarily be that the rates are going up. Your focus needs to be finding a house right now, because inventory is still really low. So if a lot of buyers assume, I'll just wait till the prices come down, I don't think that's going to happen. The only thing that's going to affect the pricing of the housing market is if inventory increases, and it's not going to be enough. So a lot of people are going to start turning toward new homes and building and new construction. You can see it already. I don't know if you guys see it where you are, but I see it here. There's already sites of places being cleared out and getting ready to put up new housing. And it is still less expensive to buy than it is to rent. Renting market right now, Erin can tell you, she's been fighting with that. It's insane what people are getting for rent now. The average mortgage is about $1,500. It's like $1,489 is actually the average. So it's $1,500. You're not renting a place for less than $1,900 if you're lucky. So that's kind of, we have other solutions for income. That's kind of what I wanted to make sure that they knew. We have online tools with guaranteed rate that you can use. I'm sure you can find them online at other places. But Matt is really creative when it comes to what we can use for income, and how especially for self-employed people, which I just feel so bad for y'all. I'm a W-2 employee. I don't know how you guys do it. How do you qualify for anything? You don't want to pay the government all that taxes, but then you're not showing enough to get money. That's where Matt comes in. He can help you structure that and figure out how it's going to work.
Excellent. Very good. And then we'll come back to Lance. Lance, you want to talk about your topic about this subject?
Well, yeah, I'm going to echo Andrea's thoughts on prices, because my opinion is that I don't see any prices coming down. What really is happening is the increase in interest rates are pushing down buyers' purchase, the ability to purchase. And I don't know, Andrea, if you've heard this metric before, but it's a rule of thumb. For every 1 point of increase in interest rates, it's about 9% downward pressure on purchasing power. So if you were to—
Sounds about right.
Yeah, if you were to just round it out, if somebody was looking for a $500,000 house last year, now they're only going to be able to purchase a $450,000 house with the same money, or at least keep the same monthly mortgage payment. So the conversations that I'm having with my buyers, it really comes down to when they're frustrated, because they become frustrated. I have not seen anybody right out of the gate make a first offer and get it accepted, unless it was a really whiz bang offer and they're throwing caution to the wind. Right. My conversations with them are figure out how much you want to spend and back off about 10% from that number. And that's where we're going to go shopping. So if you want to get the $500,000 house, we're going to look for houses up to $450,000, because you're going to be paying about $500,000 on it.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah, because that's about generally where I'm seeing houses going, about 10% over list price. So to help guide my clients, I'm having these heart-to-heart conversations with them, letting them know that it's definitely a tough market out there, and here's the strategy we're going to use in order to beat out the other people. Here's the things that you're going to have to include in an offer in order to get it accepted. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to Heather.
So, we're title insurance, so we don't typically deal with the clients that, face to face, like you guys are dealing with the clients and directing them and guiding them. We're kind of very much on the back end of things, working with the lenders and the attorneys to get, the title searches squared away, to make sure that your clients have full ownership of their house, no liens recorded, all of that stuff. So we're very much in the backside. I can tell you from things that I've been hearing, been reading, as like Andrea said, and then Lance reiterated, the prices aren't coming down anytime soon. I know people are getting frustrated and they are hoping that prices are going to come down, but the reality of it is yes, people are, the builders are now gearing up to build new homes, right? But it's going to take a while to catch up. So the buyers have to realize this, and they just have to be patient. So I can see the frustration, I get their frustration, but they do have to be patient. Prices aren't going to come down for a while. Like Andrea said, unless the inventory can catch up to the demand, which it's not going to for a while. So, everything with production and manufacturing and supply demand issues and all of that stuff that COVID made worse. I mean, we were seeing that before. We were seeing inventory at a low and not meeting demand as it was before COVID. But now COVID hit and we have all the supply issues, and people can't find enough help to help them build. All of those issues go into the builders being able to build more houses, and that all is going to take a while to catch up, and then to allow the builders to finally get their foothold into having enough inventory for the people that are out there. So it's going to take a while, and definitely with the what we've been seeing on the title side is, because we work directly with the lenders, I said, for the most part, and we've obviously been seeing the refinances, which were very strong for the last 2 years. They've pretty much dropped off. One thing that's kept us consistent, and I think it's going to be on the increase in the next several years, is reverse mortgages. And we've been doing that since we opened our doors. That was like our first client, was a reverse mortgage client. And so I think people are starting to realize that have homes, are lucky enough to have homes, right, at this point. I think people are starting to realize that reverse mortgages can help them. They're not the reverse mortgages of the 80s and 90s where people did get taken advantage of, right? There's a lot of regulations now surrounding the reverse mortgages. So I do think that, like I said, that has been a very strong foundation for us. Whereas the purchase market and the refinance market is very cyclical, very up and down, but that has been pretty consistent for us. So we're very grateful for having to get into that when we did. And I do think that is going to be on the upward swing. But, as far as purchases and supply and demand, all of that goes, it remains to be seen, but I definitely think prices are not coming down for a while. So
I agree.
Buyers need to stay with it, stay the course, right? But just be patient.
Excellent. And Andrea, we'll come back to you for the follow-up. Do you want to follow up on what's been said so far? Or do you have more follow-up on what you were saying earlier?
I can attest without hesitation that Lance and Aaron have the toughest jobs of this entire process. I used to think it was the loan officers, because talking to people about money will make the nicest old lady next door grow fangs. But you guys are running until you have holes in your shoes. So I commend you guys, and it really does make a difference if you have a relationship with your realtor. You need to. And I know everybody wants to give family and friends the opportunity, but you still have to be able to connect with them. They need to understand what you're looking for.
Awesome. Got it. So we'll come back to Aaron now to talk a little bit more. You want to follow up on what some other people had said, or do you have any other topics?
Yeah, I would piggyback on what Andrea was just talking about, actually, and saying, like, relationships are everything right now in this business, and having the right professionals by your side would mean everything. This isn't a fly-by-night job. This is, this is boots on the ground, 7 days a week job. And to have a mortgage broker like Andrea and Matt at Guaranteed Rate in Madison at your side, answering your phone calls late at night, responding to texts, responding to your clients quickly, it means everything. Willing to take calls from listing agents when we're putting in offers, and having that tight-knit team around you, means everything. And it's important in this market to be able to proceed into an offer with kind of your crew, knowing that everybody's kind of there to support you, support that offer, support that buyer, and it really can make a difference.
Excellent. And we'll come back to Heather. Do you want to expand a little bit? I know what they're about and all, but do you want to expand a little bit about what exactly a reverse mortgage is and how that works for the kind of as a follow-up?
Well, I'll be completely honest, because I don't work with the clients to advise them on the reverse mortgages. I don't know 100% how it works. So I'm very transparent about that. Maybe Andrea can speak to that better. You do have to a certain age, I believe it's 62 and a half. And you have to have equity in your home, obviously. And but the main thing is, if you're considering a reverse mortgage, talk to an attorney, talk to your CPA, your accountant, your family. Make sure it's the right decision for you. And that's kind of where the regulations kind of surround everything with reverse mortgages now. They want you to talk to all these people to advise you properly, rather than just jumping into a reverse mortgage because your lender is telling you that or whoever is, or maybe a family member is telling you that that's a great option for you, or a friend. But if you're considering it, if you're in that age bracket and you're considering a reverse mortgage, just talk to the right people. Like I said, your accountant, your CPA, your attorney. But it is helpful for a lot of people, and it does get them through their retirement. So it can be a great option for people, and I think they need to understand that. Andrea, I can tell you have something.
Yeah, I want to just let you know, guaranteed rate does do them, and they're so convoluted. As Heather was saying, we have the person that does them at guaranteed rate. That's all they do. They don't do any other kind of lending. So it's definitely all about talking to the right people. Yeah. But I wanted to ask a question. Do we have time?
Sure.
Okay. Lance, you said you were in Clinton, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see most of the movement of the people coming from?
There's a noticeable flow of people coming from further east and out of the urban areas.
So I see a lot of, right now I'm working in an area where most of the people that I've been working with lately have been coming from New York into Maplewood, Summit, some of them going into Chatham, Florham Park, that kind of. What about the people in Clinton? Are they coming from those areas out toward Hunterdon County?
Well, I've had the, experience of working in real estate, both along the Route 80 corridor and the 78 corridor. Oh, okay. And one thing I've noticed is in both of those situations, even in previous markets, there was an obvious westerly trajectory of people, even in balanced or buyer's markets. That's just the natural flow. A lot of times people are trying to get out of the urban areas, come to the suburban areas, settle down, establish some roots, raise families, things like that. And then once they've done that, there's the outward flow to either Pennsylvania, down to Florida, or the Carolinas. So I guess it's just a more pronounced effect of what has always been happening over time. And I think that the COVID scenario, I guess, did that even, brought that even more to the forefront, because, a lot of the properties out here, you do end up getting more for your money, where, $500,000 in Maplewood probably isn't getting you a postage stamp. But out here, it'll get you, in some of the rural areas that, used to, in 2019, $500,000 would get you a 1995 Center Hall Colonial with 4 bedrooms and a full basement. Now that same house is $650,000. But that I don't know if that answers the question, but it's been, yes, I guess, more of the same trend, just a lot more of it.
Yeah, and to go in and to follow up a little bit on that reverse mortgage and go on, as a CPA, I can say basically the concept of the reverse mortgage, for those who are curious, is if an individual has used that home to build their nest egg, they built an equity in it, and they don't want to leave it. Like, it is their home. It's not just an investment. It's not just a house. It is where their final resting place wants to be, and they want to be there forever. And then what happens is it literally works in reverse. So you've put money in and you've built up the mortgage. Then you have a situation where you have to be a certain age, you qualify, and then it's based on the life expectancy that they're going to give you a payout. But basically, you live there until you die. So you literally can outlive and take out more money than the value of the home ever is, and you're allowed to live there for the rest of your remaining life. You're not forced to live there for the rest of your remaining life, but you're allowed to, and no one can remove you from your premise. And then you have that for the rest of your life. But then again, that's a big nest egg for other people. So there's financial situations when it makes sense and when it doesn't, but that's something strategizing. So that was on the reverse mortgage. And the other thing, as an accountant looking at this and very, without a doubt, the trend is always urban out. It's urban out, and then one way out. Get out of New Jersey, move south, and then the other thing too is it does become a one-way trip, because a lot of times you can't afford to come back. So you once you've made that move, and depending on what you've done with your salary and your income and everything, it's a one-way trip, because what COVID has allowed for is, again, breaking down barriers and walls where you can make a New York income in somewhere else and move that. So the real question is, will the real estate in New York ever come back on some of those aspects? And that's the bigger question as to in those cities and things where you're sitting on it.
Dennis, I had a feeling you probably knew more than me and even Andrea on that reverse.
Well, I was asking you just to give you a chance because you brought it up, because it is something I don't think a lot of people get exposed to enough.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
There are options.
Like Andrea said, it's definitely a specialty, and so the lenders that are selling it, they're specialized in it. So I don't pretend to know everything.
Yep. No problem.
I'm glad you explained it better than what we would have. So thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, no, and we've got plenty of time. You guys are all seem to be on the right subject. So before we do a kind of final wrap up and kind of let you each kind of say the one thing that you want people to know, is there another topic or another question you guys wanted to highlight before we get into the final piece? Another topic that we can go around the horn on. Is there a subject matter, an area that's something that you guys see besides the glowing? You need that team, and the market is tight right now. It is very tight right now. But is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about?
The only other thing that I would probably chime in, it was brought up a little bit earlier, but I'll just kind of reiterate. I don't do a lot of rentals myself personally, but I do some leasing management work for a developer, and the leasing and the rental market is just as hot and busy as the buy and sell market right now. There are multiple applications on every apartment. We've got calls every day, multiple times a day, emails looking for availability all over, whether it's, in Morristown here by me. I manage a building actually in Clinton. We see it out there a lot. So this is spanning most of northern New Jersey from what I'm seeing, and that the rental market is just as busy as the buy sell right now as well.
And I just read yesterday that 25% of the new home purchases or new home builds are being consumed by big investors. So they're actually, of the houses that are being built as rentals by big money coming in, and not individuals buying it, but large corporations buying the blocks or building out the whole piece. So I think it's going to stay that way, where the rental market stays hot.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask that same question. I was going to ask if you guys are seeing that on your end, because I've also read that, and I've experienced it, that there's a lot of investors, big and small, buying homes, right, and or building, but buying normal homes that your people want, right? That your people want to buy, and a lot of what they're doing is for Airbnb, for those short-term rentals. Are you guys seeing that in your areas?
I'm seeing an interest in people, the rental market, obviously apartment buildings, garden apartments, those are going to be really high in demand. And Lance, tell me, I'm interested to hear what you have to say too, but also people, I've got a buyer that I'm working with now. He's looking for single families simply to rent them out. And there's a lot of demand in my area, at least, for people looking for single family home rentals.
Yes, single family home rentals are very difficult in Hunterdon County. I remember reading a statistic once that Hunterdon County is one of the most expensive counties for renting, and it's a lot of it's because your typical house out here is on 2, 3, 5, 10 acres with $18,000 in property taxes, and you got to collect a lot of rent to cover that.
Yeah.
So out in my area, most of the investors that I work with are typically purchasing in areas where prices are very low and taxes are very low. And I'm thinking places like Trenton and Phillipsburg, where those are the areas that can sustain those types of rents that cover the monthly debt and taxes and things like that. So Hunterdon County's there are some areas in Somerset County that there are. But I also see a lot of investors who've been holding for years now starting to liquidate and put their cash elsewhere because they know that if they were on the edge of being landlords, a lot of them are trying to capture that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. And that's one of the topics that we talk about a lot or deal with a lot. Are any of you, have any experience or have you seen any like-kind exchanges or dealing anything from that perspective? And have you guys encountered any of that, or do you have any specialties in that, in the like-kind exchange? No.
I've not had experience it, but I just did have a conversation with an investor who was considering something like that the other day. So people are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, very good. So now we'll go around the horn, and I lost my track of order, so we'll just kind of go from this order. Give everyone the chance to finalize. I don't think Lance had a chance to go first. So Lance, 2 minutes or less, or well, we got plenty of time now. Take as much time as you need, but what's the one thing that you want people? Yeah, you guys are the least talkative of our group. Sometimes we got to get people to stop talking. So, you guys are net to the point. You can tell you guys are transactional. So Lance, you want to tell me what it is that what you want everyone to remember from this presentation here today?
Well, I guess one thing that we didn't really cover was there's still a lot of hesitancy among sellers with regards to whether or not they should put their house on the market, because they know that if they put their house on the market and they need to make a purchase on the other side, they're going to be in the same boat as the buyers who are trying to purchase their home, who would be trying to purchase their home. And just to put into perspective how low the inventory is, I just took a look at some of the numbers from New Jersey Association of Realtors. In February of 2019, all of New Jersey, there was 49,115 houses for sale for the whole month of February. That's the last, the March data hasn't been published yet. February of 2022, so again, 49,000 in 2019, now 18,679 houses for sale, February of 2022. That's a big drop in available inventory. However, there's a bright side. I want sellers to be aware of the fact that now is a magnificent time to take advantage of the market, because while I don't see prices dropping out at the bottom, I still see them continuing to rise, although at more moderate rates through 2022. As buyers start to drop out of the market at some point in the future, they're not going to have the same situation where 10, 20, 30 people are offering on their house where they get the pick of the litter. What that means to a seller is that even though they can still capture the same price or similar prices, what they're going to have to deal with is things that they didn't want to. So that roof that's 30 years old, that probably needs to be replaced next year. Buyers are not going to be they're going to be sensitive to that kind of thing. The furnace that is 25 years old and is on its last legs, buyers are going to be sensitive to those types of things. So if sellers want to be able to capture the momentum of the market and I guess the tangential things that go along with the real estate transaction that sometimes they don't think about until they're underway, now is the time to do it, because they're not going to be able to get that, in a year from now or so, when there's 2 or 3 buyers offering on their house instead of 20 or 30.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great point. I'm going to make I'll reiterate that. My mom sold a house after my dad passed, who they lived in it for literally 50 years. And there were things they were going to do and things they legally had to do. But beyond that, it was like, it is what it is. And it's like next up. And that was part of the offer process. Like, you understand it is how it is. It's not the highest price. It's you get that. Because the second you say no, we go to the next person.
I've seen the flip side of this. I was I got licensed in 2013, so I was not there for the run up and then the subsequent crash. I started at the bottom because the bottom of New Jersey sales was 2012. But what I was starting to sell when people who had purchased at the height were now having to deal with property condition issues that they knew about from the time they bought the house but never dealt with. For one of the things I'm thinking about, they had a crack in the foundation that was about 20 feet long. They knew about it. They bought it like that, and they could not sell their house with that. They had to buy it like that in 2005. They could not sell it like that in 2015 was the year they sold it. So that's the backside of all the stuff that people are purchasing houses as is right now are going to have to face later on when they sell.
Exactly. Next up, Heather.
So what do I want to say? We've said so much, and I think so much of it, people kind of understand at this point. I guess for me, for title, doing title insurance, it's the most boring topic out of everybody else. And like I said, the consumer, the borrower doesn't see us, right? We're very much on the back end, like I said. And I had one person actually a few weeks ago say to me, I had no idea really what title insurance was until I needed it. And he said, honestly, I thought it was a racket. He goes, I just remember being at the closing table at one of my houses and, signing the 30,000 page document or whatever it is, signing your life away. And he happened to ask about it. And he was like, yeah, okay, I'm never going to need that. It's just something that the bank basically, it's an extra way for the bank to make money, right? And he said about a year later, he got a knock on the door. He says, honestly, I don't remember if it was like a sheriff or a collection person. I don't know. But they proceeded to tell him that he owed $75,000. And he was like, I'm sorry, what? Come to find out, him and his wife purchased this house that was a flip. And this contractor that had purchased the house, I guess had a whole bunch of LLCs and was trying to hide a lot of stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing, all of this illegal activity. And so it took a while basically for something to get recorded, his non-payment to a subcontractor. And thankfully he had the title insurance that the lender required him to get, right, for $3,000. He said it was something like $3,000. And because of that, he did not have to pay out on that $75,000 or pay an attorney to deal with it. He said he was completely hands off, and it took them about a year to figure it all out. But he said after he closed the door on that guy and gave him the phone number for his lender, he said he was completely out of it. So he was very, very thankful for it at that point. But I do think, with everything being so digital now, I think, we talk about, you might hear deed fraud, right? And you can read a lot of things on the internet that say it's not going to happen, like it's too difficult. Well, guess what? The criminals are getting smarter and smarter too. And there's more and more stuff about you online, right? Everything's collecting your data. So I really think that is going to be more on the rise, unfortunately. Just like ransomware attacks and everything else that we're hearing about, your ID stolen, all of that stuff. I think it's really going to go on the rise as we live more digitally. So don't complain about your lenders requiring you to have title insurance. I guess that's the bottom line.
No, and without a doubt, and you are definitely the person where the less you see you, the better. The more it's like one of those things. It's when you have to deal with it, and when you have to know about it, and when you have to learn a lot about it, is when things have gone wrong. And then when the transaction goes, I like to joke that the attorney doesn't do anything. The title insurance does the whole closing, and it's when it's the quality of the title insurance company as to how clean and smooth that transaction goes. And they both just you guys do all the work, and then the package comes back to them. And they take it from there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I didn't say you did, but one thing to mention, because people are going to be like, well, why didn't the title search catch it? Well, first of all, when there's people involved, right? No person is perfect. So let's start with that. But also, people don't realize that sometimes there's a delay for things to get recorded.
Yeah.
So you may be closing on the house on April 1st, and that lien has been sitting there, right, backlogged for somebody to record that. You don't know it's there. It's in limbo, like in space somewhere, right? It doesn't get recorded now until April 15th. And you don't know about it until you go to refinance your house or, sell your house or whatever. So things like that happen, and then random things happen, like with heirs and so many stories, honestly. So definitely just don't complain to your lender that you have to pay for title insurance.
It's for your own good.
Worth it if you need it.
And that leads us right into you, Andrea. So
So I just want to reiterate and summarize that for the people who think, okay, just to give you some background, in the 90s, I was a business banker. In the 2001-ish and onward, I was a lender. I was a mortgage person. So I had gone back to banking for a little bit, just to give you a background of why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. It's not mean, but if you think you're going to get a steal right now, it's probably not the market for you. If you think you can't buy because the rates are on a trend to go up, I say you're wrong. If you think you can't sell because you're not sure where to go, you're just going to have to manage your expectations. You're not going to sell your house that you bought for $300,000. Now you're going to sell it for $600,000. And you think you're going to go make out in North Carolina. People are on the move all over the place. So if you're going to buy, do it now. Do it now. And if you don't believe me when I tell you that it is worth it for some of the tax benefits, you need to hook up with my friend Dennis, and he's going to tell you exactly how you're going to benefit for your income tax on owning a home.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with Erin.
I would just kind of say that buying and selling real estate in any market is really stressful. It's planning a move, it's finding a new place, it's selling something. It's always a stressful process. And these last year and a half or so has made it even more so, I think, for a lot of people. So my best advice is find a great agent and find your advocate, somebody that's knowledgeable, that knows this market, knows their local neighborhoods, and can walk you through it and get you where you want to go, and hopefully a very seamless transaction. I think that's kind of the most important thing. But we as agents, I think, know that this can be a really stressful time in anybody's life when they're buying or selling real estate, because it's a huge purchase, or it's a big sell, and it's nice to know that they have somebody at their side who has the resources, has the knowledge to walk them through that. And that's it.
Very good. You've got the least airtime out of everyone. Well, I am going to.
This is relaxed team.
Oh,
We're so
hold on, let me
glad and excited to
pause that
have
for a second
our
here, sorry.
nonprofit for this month, Habitat for Humanity. So we're so glad and excited to have our
we're trying to run our
nonprofit for this
nonprofit
month,
here. Hold on.
Habitat for Humanity.
Do you do a lot with Habitat? I love Habitat for Humanity.
Mhm.
Oh, he's working on getting the sound off.
Yeah.
Poor Dennis.
I know.
Yeah, it's stuck. Hold on one second. I'll turn it live. I'm just going to share the screen. Hold on. All right, there it is. Here it is.
We're so glad and excited to have our nonprofit for this month, Habitat for Humanity. Brittany, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do with the organization, and how we can help?
Sure, sounds great. Thank you, Dennis. So my name is Brittany Paulson. I am the Volunteer Services and Public Relations Manager at Warren County Habitat for Humanity. And our main thing is that we are looking for volunteers right now. You can come out and volunteer on one of our build sites. We have a couple builds going on currently. One of them is a volunteer build, which is the typical Habitat for Humanity build. A core team of volunteers comes out about twice a week, and they work all day from 9 to 5. They come out and you can absolutely join them and, pick up a hammer, get dirty, get gritty with it. And then we also have a modular build that's happening in POHAC-COM, which is very exciting. It's one of our first, and that is actually going to be delivered at the end of the month. That is going towards a veteran family who is incredibly deserving. He served in the Navy and he also went to seminary, became a pastor. So he is a very deserving, wonderful guy who is getting that home in POHAC-COM. So as the volunteer services coordinator, I would love to promote, all kinds of volunteering. We also have our Restore, which is our our Habitat branded thrift store in Washington Township, where you can come in, look at some awesome deals, check out some great stuff while also helping a mission of building homes and hope for people in need. We also have the opportunity for company build days. So if anybody is interested in a day of caring, or the organization or company that you work for does some sort of company bonding group build day, we are absolutely looking for groups to come out. Like I said, swing a hammer, help actually construct what will be the home for one of our very deserving families. And you can definitely just reach out to us. We'll provide the contact information for you to get started. But those are on Thursdays and Saturdays. So if anybody wants to come out, we can also make other days work for you if you're available for days. Also have some exciting things coming up. We have our annual Hope in the Hills program, which is a weekend of hope, we like to call it. May 14th through 15th is going to be what is this weekend of hope, where youth and adults will partner together to perform small-scale repairs, outdoor home maintenance on homes that are owned by elderly or disabled low to moderate income homeowners. So that's something you can sign up for as well. Bring your family, your kids, whatever you are interested in. We also have a 10th anniversary Restore sale happening in May. So if you'd like to come out and, we need all hands on deck for that. But if you'd also like to just come out and see these amazing deals, and again, purchase some beautiful secondhand items, with a lot of quality furniture coming in for amazing prices, and they're going to be dropped even more on May 21st is the sale. So come on out for that. So yeah, just come out, volunteer for an amazing organization. We like to say that, we have a very kind of small town feel in Warren County. Although Warren County is huge, it just feels like home. If people volunteer with us, they always say that they felt instantly welcomed and comfortable. And so we want you to be a part of that amazing thing. I mean, I know I've experienced it since I came here a couple months ago. Everybody really puts an effort towards making you feel like part of the team, which I've really enjoyed personally. So thank you. Yeah, we really love to see some of you guys come out and keep up to date on our social media, the Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, which will post all those, give you guys all those links. And that's pretty much the biggest things that we have going on right now.
And now if I wanted to donate to the Restore, what is that process and how does that work?
Absolutely. So donating to the Restore is fairly simple. You just give a Restore a call, which is 908-835-1980. Tell them that you want to donate something. They will either help you schedule a pickup if it's a large amount or if it's a large item, furniture, something of that sort. Or you can just come on in between the hours of 9:30 to 2:30 on, well, I believe it's Tuesday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday. And you can come and drop off a smaller item if that's possible for you to bring your car. So again, that is 908-835-1980. And the hours are 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for you to just come in and drop them off.
Excellent. Well, I know you guys do great work in the community, and we'll look forward to getting more people out, get out.
Sure. And we also have our community center, which is now open officially. which is very exciting. I wanted to throw that in at the end there. I hope we still have time. But we recently opened it at the beginning of this month, and if you need a meeting space in Warren County, or if you would like to have an event, a party, we are the place to come to.
Where's that located?
That is located on Belvedere Ave in Washington Township. It's 31 Belvedere Ave. So right where our office is, we're now opening it and finished up with renovations for this amazing community center. We have, I believe, 2 or 3 meeting spaces. All this information is going to be online. And then one giant room, kind of an auditorium-ish area where there's a stage. You can have meetings, presentations, larger events, anything that you might be interested in.
Excellent. That is awesome. Very good to know. Thank you.
All right. So wanted to get that video out there for everybody to see. Unfortunately, Brittany is actually in Atlanta for a national conference with and wasn't able to make it today. So we recorded that in advance. And she actually projected because she knew it would be open now. So we actually, she wanted to time all that so that it is all open. The community center is all open now. If anyone wants to help out Habitat for Humanity, or if you want to get anything at their Restore store, feel free to reach out 908-935-1980. And with that, that is it. We'll summarize and wrap it up. Thanks everyone for attending. Thanks everyone for being here live. And as far as going out, supporting, as you said, Andrea, yeah, a great organization, Habitat for Humanity. Anything, if we want to go out, and maybe we'll do something where as a teams, we swing a hammer one day this summer. So we'll try to get it all coordinated. But
That sounds great.
thanks everybody.
Thanks for
Awesome.
having us.
Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.